Howdy everybody. Today we're going to make a quick 10-minute trip to visit the Sea of Galilee, or the Kinneret in Hebrew. We're going to primarily visit the Christian sites on the northwestern side of the Sea of Galilee, and then after we finish here, we're going to make a trip to the west up to visit Nazareth. Anyway, before we start, I'd like to tell you two things. One, the Sea of Galilee is 200 meters or 600 feet below sea level, and we can see on the eastern side the Golan Heights, but that's a subject for another trip. Anyway, let's go. Okay, welcome to our first stop, the Church of the Beatitudes on the Mount of Beatitudes, where Jesus gives his famous 8 blessings, starting off with, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And no, one of the people who gets the blessings are not the cheesemakers. Anyways, I'll list the other blessings over here somewhere. This church was designed and built by a famous Italian architect called Antonio Barluzzi. He built it. You can see the dome is an 8-sided dome. And we're going to be seeing today another 2 structures with 8 sides. I'll point them out to you when we get there. The reason is, one, there are 8 Beatitudes, 8 blessings. And also, wherever we find an 8-sided building or structure, a Christian structure that is, it indicates that something important happened here. Anyways, let's go inside. Okay, and let's go on to our next site. We're at Tabgha, the site of the miracle of the fish and the loaves, where Jesus is able to feed the multitudes with bread and fish. The church itself is a very, very beautiful Benedictine monastery. Follow me, let's go inside. Okay, the church itself is built in a basilica style. That is, it has a central room and 2 passageways or walkways on either side. We're going to see another structure like this at our next stop. So anyways, just enjoy the view and we'll go on to our next stop. We're now at Capernaum, or Capernaum, the town of Jesus, and you can see that we're in another basilica. Again, I remind you that a basilica has a central room, and then on either side of the central room, it has a walkway or a passageway separated from it by a row of pillars. But in this case, this is not a church, it's a synagogue. It's a synagogue where many believe Jesus may have prayed, but probably not. The synagogue dates to about 300 years after Jesus. Anyways, let's go and see one other thing here at Capernaum. Okay, behind me we have what is believed by many people to be the house of Peter. You'll notice, it might be a little bit difficult to see because of our angle, that there is a 8-sided and octagonal structure here in the center. Inside that is what many people believe to be the house of Peter. I remind you that wherever we have an octagonal structure, that is indicative that something important happened here. And we do know from the Gospels that Peter lived here in Capernaum. Let's go on to our next site. We're now in Magdala. And this is very possibly one of the most fascinating and interesting places here on the edge of the Sea of Galilee. This is a very new site. It was excavated, and they found here very possibly one of the oldest, I've said it before, 4 or 5 synagogues in Israel. This synagogue is at least 2,000 years old. It dates back to the time period of the Second Temple, the Temple of Herod. And this is in the city of Magdala, the city of Mary Magdalene. And that in itself, it makes this place very, very interesting and important to both Christians and Jews. So here behind me, we've got the synagogue. It doesn't look like a synagogue that we know of today. Essentially, it's a square meeting place. That's what a synagogue is. It's a place where people meet in order to pray, to study, and to learn. And inside the synagogue, they found one of the most interesting things. They found this. They found this little table. A little bit difficult to see. Maybe the sun might be shining off of it. We're not really sure what it is. I shouldn't say that. Archaeologists and historians think that it is probably maybe a replica of the temple in Jerusalem for the people who weren't able to go from here to Jerusalem 3 times a year. We're a week's journey from Jerusalem, at least 2,000 years ago. Anyway, we're going to go to the west here, up to Nazareth. Let's go. Our final stop of the day is here at the Church of the Annunciation in Nazareth, the Catholic Church of the Annunciation, where, according to Catholic tradition, Mary lives, and she is told by the angel Gabriel that she is pregnant with the Messiah. You should know, of course, that there is another church here, an Orthodox church, where they believe this happened at a well. We'll go there very quickly. We are now outside the Greek Orthodox Church of the Annunciation, or more correctly referred to as St Gabriel's Church, the site where, according to Orthodox tradition, Mary is told by the angel Gabriel that she's pregnant. Let's go inside quickly. As usual, first on with the mask. This is a wonderful Greek Orthodox church. You can see all the icons and the candles and the censers, but we're here to see the well. And here we have the well. You can hear the water. Here we have the well where, according to tradition, Mary is told that she's pregnant. Okay, anyway, let's head back now to the Catholic Church of the Annunciation. And we're back. Anyways, let's go inside and see the cave or the cavern. On with the mask and off with the hat. Okay, as you can hear, there's some ceremony going on. Quite a beautiful, interesting, and very stark church. Okay, there's a mass going on here, so we can't go down to the site of the cave, but we can see over there in the distance the entrance to the cave where tradition says Mary lives. One other thing, above the central mass we can see an oculus. It's an 8-sided oculus. I remind you that I said we'd see today 3 octagonal structures, indicating that something important happened here. We've come to the end of our very short 10-minute trip visiting the Sea of Galilee and Nazareth. You can see Nazareth behind us. And we're ending the trip here on what is referred to as Mount Precipice, where, according to the tradition, Jesus is thrown over the edge of this mountain, and the story ends there, like our trip. But of course we do know what happens after that, but that's also the subject for another trip. Anyways, behind me to the north we can see the city of Nazareth, where we came from. To the west we can see in the distance we can see the Carmel Mountains. To the south, we can see just the northern edge of the Gilboa Mountains, and to the east, over there, in line with the Sea of Galilee where we started, that is Mount Tabor, the place where Jesus underwent a transformation and became the Messiah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the trip today. We'll see you next time.